Yo, what's up? This is Rubian from Rubian Gaming. I wanted to talk about something I hadn't really seen much internet discussion about. Packaging. Games come in all kinds of different packaging. Back in the NES days, they came in cardboard boxes. Then we had like jewel cases with the Dreamcast and the PlayStation era. And then we moved on to, the CD and DVD, and it just kept going. And I was looking at my collection, thinking about just kind of how everything is different. Like every generation had its own look, and how certain companies kind of did something cool with their boxes, and some were just dumb. And how these days, you go online and you look for an old game, and oftentimes, a boxed copy is worth a lot more than just the cartridge or the disc, because the packaging was cool. It was a way to store your games, and it was just a way to show that you were a collector and you had a complete set of everything. So today I wanted to show you some of the systems I have and some of the different boxes I have. Not just the artwork, but the manual, the cases, and special editions, and all kinds of different stuff that companies would do to try and increase the shelf appeal of their products. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
All right, first up, we've got some Atari games. We've got Yar's Revenge for the Atari. First of all, I love the box art. Back then, they had to sell you with some cool box art. A lot of times now we'll have artwork of like maybe what looks like the game or just a character, but you didn't find anything like this in Yar's Revenge. And this one advertised, we got a cool comic book included, and the back we have an image of the game because they really had to sell it because graphics sucked back then, but they were great for the time. Cartridge looks good, looks just like the cover art, and inside we've got we've got the instruction manual, pretty much your standard. Graphics are awful, use a damn controller. And a comic book, a full color comic book. Kind of cool. There were other games that did this, but not much of a thing anymore these days. Next we have Super Mario Bros. This is just the arcade Mario Brothers game they made after the original was popular on the NES. This is your standard Atari cartridge. You got your artwork, your logo. On the sides, you always had or the top, I guess you could call it, you always had your name so you could see it on a shelf. A lot of games like that. This is your pretty standard. And then check out this one. Tell Games, 3 skill levels. It's Adventure, which is a cool little game, but look at that weird box art. Like, what the hell? And then these are Intellivision games, a little bit like the Atari ones, but different shape to them. They got this weird handle part, and they were on an angle. They fit sideways. They fit sideways into the console. They were just they were trying to be different. Make your cartridges look different so you could tell the difference between them. Let's talk about some Nintendo games. NES. I don't have the boxes anymore, but do you remember these sleeves? These sleeves that the games came in, and how some of them were labeled with the Nintendo logo on them, and some of them were just plain. And check out this. This is my original copy of Metroid. It's just shows some of the game graphics. Kind of was on back then. And I got this one with the cool ass artwork of Samus. I think it was when they re-released it or something, different box art. I don't know, but I always found that kind of strange. Some of them have the Nintendo logo, but a lot of them just don't. I never understood that. Let's move on to Super Nintendo. Remember these cardboard boxes? You'd pop them open, and you have your instruction manual and a nice little place to put the game in. Pretty regular. And then they had the player's choice. Was this the first system to do that? Where if a game sold like a jillion copies, they'd release it with some nice gold, the best of Super Nintendo Entertainment Center system, and you'd get this cool little ribbon in the corner. Nowadays when they do that, a lot of people seek the player's choice or $1,000,000 box. They like that clean original artwork now as opposed to this, but I don't know, either way it's cool. You still get the cool box art. And then we got the cartridges. Do you remember these sleeves? Or if those of you haven't seen it, they're just dust protectors, but a cool idea. Interesting. Look at that logo down there. That's like the Japanese Super Famicom logo. Normally it had the 4 colored circles. I want to say some of the box art had it on there, but none of these ones do. But over here, there's the logo hanging down there. It's hard to see, but there's the logo hanging down there on the American ones. But We never had that. The controller in the Japanese Famicom, I want to say the Europe PAL versions, had the colors on the buttons and the little logo, but we didn't get that for whatever reason. Kind of disappointing, because I kind of like those bright, colorful ones whenever you see them. Here's a Japanese Famicom game. It's Super Metroid, my favorite game of all time. Different shape, cartridges here. The tops are way fucking different. And interestingly enough, ours has these pegs on the top and these holes. That's actually the region lockout, is the shape of the cartridge. They're like, fuck it, we'll just make the cartridge a different shape. That'll keep the kids from pirating the games. And then how about these two? I got these, the only two Super Nintendo games I have like that. Doom, which is this blood awesome red, and then Killer Instinct black. I have no idea why. The Doom one's fucking cool. Killer Instinct, I guess, whatever. Nothing wrong with the gray. Some of them show a little more like wear and aging than others. Harvest Moon's still fucking looking great, but Ogre Battle, not so much. Let's talk about Sega Genesis. Look at this Sonic cartridge. Not for resale. Well, guess what? I bought this game used. This is not... I never had a Genesis when I was originally little. I had a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo. My buddy across the street had a Genesis. Later on, when I was like a teen, I bought a Genesis and a bunch of awesome Sega games. And then how about, like the box art for Sega Sonic 2 has that not for resale, or Streets of Rage, has it as well. Sega was way ahead of their time with these boxes. I mean, yeah, you had the standard, like, talk about the game and everything, but you could fit the cartridges in there, like a way to store it. I don't have the boxes on a lot of my Super Nintendo and Nintendo games. My parents threw them out because they were just cardboard. They didn't serve any purpose. These were great. You kept these because these were hard plastic, like VHS holders, and you could snap the game in. Like, what a great idea, Sega. You guys knew what the hell was going on. How about some weird looking cartridges like Shaq Fu? I know, the game fucking sucks, but like, what the hell is this? Like, does something come out of there? I don't know. This is the weirdest Sega cartridge I've ever seen. And of course, we all remember the Sonic and Knuckles. It usually had a little flap to cover it, but mine broke off. And now we're on to the PlayStation. This is actually why I decided to create this video. I was looking at some of my CDs for the Mega Man X games, and I was just noticing between X4 and X5, look at the CD differences. Like, we got a white plain, kind of common with the PlayStation 1. And X5 had this weird thing where you kind of got this image on the CD, and then behind it was the same image in full color, and the CD kind of lined up with it. You can see X's legs kind of do that. And then they continued that on to Mega Man X6. That same concept with Zero, although it's a little harder to see. You can see his face, it keeps going up in the corner. But that's why I started this, was these PlayStation games. Speaking of, look at that weird greatest hits, that green logo. That's unattractive as hell, but hey, it got your attention in the store. Why, green Lego? Oh, greatest hits. They've sold a couple copies of this. Maybe I should be one of the few people to run out and buy it as well. But speaking of Capcom, I noticed how overall the quality of them just got worse. Like, the quality of X4, especially with those animated cutscenes to X6's intro pictures, like, they got worse as they went. Look at the Breath of Fire games. Like, look at this cover art, Breath of Fire 3. What the hell is it? That's like a stock fire and sword, nothing special. I guess it's kind of artsy. The classic role-playing game. Our Breath of Fire is great, but if anything, it is not classic. I guess it plays classically, but we got nice box art behind the CD, a nice looking CD. Breath of Fire 4, we got some nice artwork. Shows our two main characters, or character, spoilers. And we just got the same old, like, whatever the art behind it was, let's just print that shit on the disc. Alright. Tales of Destiny 2, or Tales of Eternia, because fuck US naming. This is one of those double jewel cases for PlayStation where you get lots of discs, but look at the quality of those discs. God damn, like, those are the nicest looking game discs of any system I've got. Like, holy shit, those are fantastic. Symphony of the Night, one of the best games on the PS1. Shitty ass CD. I like black with some yellow fucking font. Fuck you kids, we don't give a shit. But you will. Here's what I really want to talk about. Squaresoft's fucking boxes for the PlayStation 1. Chrono Cross looks pretty good. This was their standard thing. a white disc with some logo. This one's got a nice picture. There's Surge there, and yeah, Kid on the other disc, but white, that was their thing. Let's look at Xenogears. White, plain-ass disc. Was that just on the greatest hits? No, Chrono Cross wasn't greatest hits. Final Fantasy Tactics. A lot of their greatest hits then went to these silver discs, where the non-greatest hits were on the white ones, if I'm not mistaken. Final Fantasy VII, that's a greatest hit. Silver discs. Final Fantasy Chronicles, not greatest hit. Oh, Chrono Trigger, and I have the anthology disc version, white discs. And then Origins. This one's my favorite. Look at Origins. That awesome Amano artwork in the back. That's fucking good looking. Do that with all your fucking discs. Here's one of my favorite, Hoshigami. This game fucking sucks. But the box art's gorgeous. Like, it's really nice. And it's a dual disc game? No. It's fucking not. You didn't even get a soundtrack or anything back here. This isn't a clip. It's just, was it for marketing? Did they have a shitload of these extra dual discs, jewel cases lying around, and they were just like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it in that? I don't know, but it's not. Here's my worst offender. I love Harvest Moon Back to Nature. This game kicks ass, but look at that CD. It's horrendous. It's just like that awful green grass texture in the background of everything. They dyed it blue. A little more back to Sega. I'm going to talk about the Saturn and the Dreamcast a little bit. PlayStation did this too, but I don't own any games like this where they had these big ass fucking boxes. These were stupid. Like, I can't imagine the amount of production costs to print these versus this. This didn't fit on a shelf for shit. These are great. Like, this thing is huge for Myst, just a PC port. Look at this waste of fucking space. Like, complete waste. And how do you like that? It's like the picture's there and they got this logo around it. Like, total shit. Sunsoft and Acclaim and Cyan. How many people fucking worked on the port of this game? Here's a traditional Sega Saturn disc and game. Nights into Dreams. I bought my Saturn for this game. This game was sweet. I played it at a friend's house. I got a Saturn. We played this and Daytona Racing. Oh, fucking this weird shooter, Project Horned Owl. I'm gonna have to see if I can get a copy of that weird game. But look at this. Silver disc. No manual. Thanks, Sega. But let's look at the Dreamcast. Fuck the Saturn. Yeah, the Dreamcast. Holy shit, Sonic Adventure. Great back then, doesn't hold up for shit nowadays. Shenmue, a dual disc. So we're here to talk about the games. We're here to talk about the awesome discs. Here's a dual case. You can't tell, but it weighs 50 fucking pounds. You got this weird fade on it, and you got the instruction manual. Shenmue was one of those 4-disc games, like some of the Final Fantasies on PlayStation 1. Just a ton of discs, but what a great game. You guys excited about the new one? I kind of am, but, let's not hold our breaths till it comes out. Resident Evil, pretty standard fare. Oh yeah, Resident Evil had one of those weird things where instead of making it a dual jewel case, they just put this cheap hinge sleeve where you got the discs on either side. I mean, it worked. It was fine. I guess it kept the jewel case down, but man, those things were kind of cheap. They broke easily. Some of them, great artwork. Jet Grind Radio. My God, look at that packaging. Like, holy shit. Some people just put time into their packaging, and some people didn't give a fucking shit. Let's advertise other games, I guess, but I want some nice artwork. Please look at these discs. Like, Skies of Arcadia had great looking discs as well. Here, Grandia 2, one of the best, most underrated RPGs ever made. Nice dual disc, nice looking CDs. This one isn't a dual disc game, it came with the soundtrack. Kinda cool. Right on, Grandia, give me the soundtrack. Here's some Choo Choo Rocket. This is my favorite box art of all time. Look at that shit. If you already didn't know what the fuck the game was about, this would tell you goddamn nothing. Look at that. That is an acid trip. All right, awesome. Wii U, blue box art. Kinda cool, but not all of them blue. Most of them blue. Mario blue, Dong Freeze blue, Monster Hunter, yeah, blue. Mario Kart 8 red, well, you did the red thing on the Wii, so I guess red and green. Green is my favorite color. Year of Luigi, but God, just on a shelf, it's just maybe I care about aesthetics too much, but kind of drives me nuts. I would love if they all were just uniform good looking. At least they have that nice white, the title, there's that little little image in each one. I like that. That's subtle things that most people aren't going to pay attention to that I like. Like you got the color, the title, you got those little images. Those are cool. I like them. Keep them, Nintendo. All right, Nintendo 64. I got the box for this one because I wanted to point out, if I can get some room up in this bitch, that what was cool was, okay, you know, yellow on this side, red on this side, blue on the top of the box, green on the bottom. Like they did this color thing going on with the Nintendo 64 and all its ads, and I thought this was cool as shit. A lot of the games followed suit with that same color pattern. There's Resident Evil 2, blue on top, green on the bottom, red, yellow on the sides. Like, kind of a neat little thing. Like, even the big ass boxes, like Pokemon Stadium that came with that adapter pack just for the Pokemon games, kept up that color theme. Star Fox 64 with the Rumble Pack, nice thick box, but kept up that same color theme. Even Ocarina of Time with its gold box at least had the one side be red, so at least if I'm putting them all on a shelf, I can keep the nice red showing and, you know, not have one be all like, oops, fuck you, Zelda's gotta be different. Well, cool on you, Nintendo 64. You did something different with your boxes, showing that Nintendo still cared about the look of things. PlayStation 2. Okay, yeah, this game sucks, I know, but what I wanted to show is how this was one of those PS2 games that had that thing like the PS1 with, or the Dreamcast 2 with the jewel cases, where you can have the multiple discs. I know there's some probably other better games that did that, but that's just one I found on hand. What I liked about some of the PlayStation 2 ones is they always had this slot for the memory card. So if you're going over to a friend's house, loaning a friend a game, you could stick your little 8 megabyte memory cards right in that holder and you wouldn't have to lose it. I mean, you could stick it in the ones without it, but it would just slide around all over the place. So that was kind of cool that they did that. They always threw these memory card holders up in there. Like, nice PS2. Then here's one with kind of a collector's edition. Wild Arms came with it's a cardboard box actually. And then you open it and the game disc goes inside, but you also got a pretty kick-ass art book. Like, bitchin'. Talk about Philips CDI. Let's switch back to something with the jewel cases real quick. The CDI games always had these nice sleeves that the games came in, and then the jewel cases, which were in good shape. Yeah, I know these games are terrible, but I really liked this. The manuals were nice, the sleeves were nice. Like, yeah, the CDI sucked, but they for a while there they cared. They tried to make it look good. Also, fucking Tetris on the CDI, was this necessary? See, Tetris, a classic game in a class of its own, originally conceived by blah blah blah. Let's talk about it. This is the ultimate version. The original Tetris gameplay features 10 levels of play, spectacular motion video nature backgrounds in case, you know, you want to play Tetris. Talk about some GameCube. Everyone loves GameCube, bro. Come over, drink some Natty Ice, play some GameCube. And the disc flew out. Sorry, Soul Calibur 2. What I liked is every single GameCube disc. I can't find one that doesn't have the spot for memory card. Every single fucking one. I went looking. I have about 40 GameCube games. I couldn't find a single one that didn't have the memory card holder. Even the games with the dual disc still had a spot for the memory card. Like, fucking cool. Always have your memory card on hand. How about these Player's Choice ones where they had that, you know, yellow bar to the top and the yellow bar on the side? So if you were stacking them all on your shelf, you just had these fucking mustard yellow labels on 2 of them. And how about Dead or Alive Ultimate with it's like a 2-disc Xbox game. I don't think I've ever seen another game on any system like all right, the Wii. White packaging, that was cool. If you remember, the Wii was, for the most part, unless you had a special edition, it was a white console. So they did white DVD cases. I like that. Another way for them to stand out. You know, the box art's are simple, but they look great. I love the white. I love these thick color manuals. Like, man, these things are like a book. Like, I can't imagine the packaging costs. Love this. Xenoblade, to my knowledge, is the only Wii game that does that. The cover is reversible and gives you a nice artwork for the game, and you bet your ass I'm gonna put it out on that, because that game, this is the best game on the Wii. Galaxy's awesome and revolutionized, but this is the best game on the Wii. Go to hell if you think otherwise. How about Metroid Prime Trilogy? Had a nice sleeve that came out, and then this is tin. This is a nice tin box with all 3 games on it, although I prefer to play them on the original GameCube. But I own this just because it's awesome. Awesome instruction manual. You got a cool little art book, although all this art can be found unlocked in the Prime games themselves. And look at this, it's huge. It's like the story of Prime. Like, damn, what a nice giveaway, but you're gonna be there all day reading that. I also like, it's kind of hard to see, let's get this fucking shit out of here, but behind it, there's some cool artwork. How about Super Mario Brothers? Red disc. I was just talking about how I loved that white. Nintendo's got to go and make one different. Nintendo. Well, it looks nice still. It's just weird being red. And how about the Mario Special Edition? Same thing. Nice red. It's cardboard. It's sturdy. Came with a lot of cool extras. Let's open it up. Yeah, you got the game, which is in a white cartridge, and then you got this History of Mario awesome DVD with this amazing, beautiful artwork book. Holy cow, cool. How about Kirby? Pink, because he's Kirby. You know, Kirby. Oh, I remember Japan got like a wood grain cover, and it was a throwback to the Super Nintendo Kirby Superstar Ultra, or Kirby Superstar, which had a wood grain. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. I don't know what were they thinking for that, but hey, it's cool. Let's open this guy as well. Yep, there's the wood grain looking cover, just kind of an 80s throwback. Awesome, gorgeous art book. So much to talk about. Then here is my weirdest one. The Last Story has this stupid fucking sleeve that came over it. I guess this was so at the store you could see like the regular information, so you could have this nice book looking thing that didn't intrude upon your collector's savviness. But then inside, typical white game, looks good, and a really nice art book. Like, for all the lack of subsistence in this game, like, felt like maybe an unpolished mess, it was really pretty and had a good soundtrack. And speaking of, there's the soundtrack right there. Came all in. And I know this is like the special edition, but I don't know if there was a regular edition of this game released. I thought all of them were like this, so you didn't even have to pay extra for this. So for whatever, 50 or 60 bucks it was, the game, the art book, the soundtrack, an awesome case, it's cool. And this, you can't tell, but this is all in like 3D. Demon Souls is probably my favorite with that, even though that boss was super disappointing. The dragon lord, the archdemon. But yeah, great looking. Ratchet and Clank, also same thing, fucking cool. Ico, Shadow of the Colossus HD, nice and standard. 3D Game Heroes, awesome, like cool. And then I got one, Dark Souls 2. Yeah, I have the PC version, it's better, but I bought the console version as well because it was out first. Yeah, nice tin case, nice collector's edition. I like it, feels good. It's like the Prime one, it'll last forever. Xbox 360. Green again, like the original Xbox, keeping with the Xbox theme. Manual, disc. Manuals are mostly black and white at this point. They were really losing on the budget. You know, they did a few things. Deadly Premonition, completely black and white on the inside of there. Then these, look at these platinum hit ones. Like, they kept with the platinum thing, and they put this silver banner across the top to let you know, just to screw with them on the shelves. You get that silver instead of the white. And then I got the Banjo-Kazooie Viva Pinata collection. It's like a dual disc, like, but it's two different games, and you got the 2 different CDs. And then the covers are the 2 games. Kind of neat, you know, nice value pack. And then Lords of Shadow. This is also one of the better collector's edition boxes I got. The game's just average, but it was a nice set. It looks like a book. Like, it's even designed. It has the ridges. It's designed to look like a book because the art book is actually built in to... Now we're going to talk about some handheld games. Let's talk about the Game Boy. Do you remember these plastic things they came in to protect the games? These were kind of cool. I believe the Game Gear had something like that too. None of my Game Gear games have the protective case, but that was kind of neat. Yeah, Harvest Moon came in a black one for some reason. Most of the games just came in this standard gray cartridge, kind of like an NES or Super Nintendo cartridge, but itty bitty for your itty bitty system. But check out these weird ones. Like, here's Turok and Mega Man Extreme 2. You could see through and see the chip. It was kind of neat, but weird as hell. And they were kind of like, they had some dimension to them. They had this like, this bump over here. Was that like so you could grab the games out better? I don't know. The Pokemon games always match the color. I mean, even though the red one was the original, they still thought, let's make the cartridge the color of our game since we're naming the games after colors. So kind of cool. Crystal had the same, you could see through, but it had that blue hue. Kind of neat. Pokemon did the same thing with the boxes for them. I mean, silver, it's silver and shiny. Fire red, shiny. Leaf green, shiny and green. You know, yellow and red respectively. Like, kind of neat. Like, you know, I thought that was kind of cool. All right, now we're on to the Game Boy Advance. Almost done, crossing the finish line. Those little Game Boy Advance cartridges, tinier, like a darker gray, almost black. Have these really cool sleeves that they go in to protect some of them. But Pokemon did the same thing, kept with the color thing going on. That was kind of their thing. You know, they did that. And then we have like these thicker boxes for like the DS Gold and Silver, but the colors were nice on them, that's for sure. And do you remember this? They did the Game Boy Advance where they released a bunch of old NES games on the Game Boy Advance, but they gave them like old NES looking packages, like kind of different but a way to keep track of them. I like this. Squaresoft, when they released all their ports or new games, they kept them in a white box. Like I'm even Sword of Mana, white box. Tactics, white box. 1 and 2, 5 and 6, like all white boxes. They all look good on the shelf together. Like I can always tell when I'm scanning my collection where it kind of stops. Because yeah, Pokemon did the color, matching their games. Square did the whites, and everything else was just random fucking colors. Everybody else just did whatever they wanted. But I thought it was kind of cool when a company would stick to one theme. You always knew where you're getting the games from. Regular DS. Normally, you know, you get the DS logo. You get the game, you pop it open. Some of them had a spot for a Game Boy Advance cartridge on the inside too, which was kind of cool, even though these were DS games. Not all of them had it. Ghost Trick seems to. Children of Mana, oh yeah, you got it too. So a lot of them did. Plants vs. Zombies, the only game I have on the DS. I liked it on the DS. It got that nice collector's sleeve, but it had the Game Boy Advance slot, so you could carry 2 games in the little cartridge if for whatever reason you wanted to. So about 3DS. 3DS, they started to use this, I guess you could call it recycled, or you can kind of stick your finger through the packaging. It was kind of like using less plastic or being cheaper, whichever you want to call it. It doesn't really bother me. A couple games did something cool with them where you see little pictures. I don't know if I have any games like that, though. Monster, same thing. Yeah. But then Mario, again, red plastic. Why do they keep doing this? I mean, if you have all the Mario games in a row, all red, and it's nice to know when you're scanning over your collection, if you see a red game case, it's probably going to be Super Mario, but how weird. That's just because Mario hits his color and look at it. Yeah, it's a meme, fuck you. Like, yeah, they did that a lot. Some games came in the cool plastic ones. I think my Strange Journey comes in one of these as well, and it came with the soundtrack. So you still get your regular case inside, but you'd also sometimes get like an art book. This one has a soundtrack and a little comic book with art. That's kind of neat. Like, you know, Atlas, the Etrian Odyssey games are cool, so that's a nice little thing. Here's the first Adventure Time game, which I now know they've made like 5 of them, but I was super psyched when the first one was coming out because I thought that was a great cartoon. And this was an awesome special edition. You got the cardboard, and then look at this, and it's a tin again. Just like Castlevania and Metroid, but it is huge for a DS game. When you open it up inside, we got Book of Beasts, so it's monster manual. You got a map of the game world. The game would be in there, and then you got a little stylus that looked like a sword. It was pretty cool. And there's SMT4. Almost doesn't look like DS. It's huge, like a PlayStation 2 size game. This one had the game in there, and then, you know, we had the soundtrack it came with, which was cool. And then look at this. It's a strategy and design book. I mean, these games were hard as shit, yeah, so a nice strategy guide. You can just go in line, but it was nice to have it at your fingertips. And then it had a lot of great art, like, right on.
That's
like
it for this one, guys. But remember, we didn't actually cover every system or every type of game box. I just wanted to give you an introduction, and at 30 minutes, this was a fairly lengthy introduction to how video game companies really like to distinguish themselves from each other when they design their boxes, special editions, artwork, and all that other crazy stuff they do. All right, till next time, Rubian out.